Hi everyone, my name's Samantha. Welcome to my channel. Back in January, I had a request or a poll that I put on my Instagram asking if people wanted to see a flip through of my daily walk Bible that I went through last year in 2017. So I ended up getting yeses. So I thought I would go ahead and film this now that I have some time, some space, and I figured out how to do my whole filming setup. So this is the Daily Walk Bible. It is a New Living Translation. My husband ordered it for me from Jackie Rao over at Bibles and Coffee on Instagram. She does do a once a month shop opening where you can customize your own Bible. So what he customized for me was here on the front cover. It says, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul," Hebrews 6:19. That is my favorite Bible verse, so he went ahead and did that. And then here on the side, it says the Holy Bible, and Jackie did all of this, and those are my initials, SJW. Here at the bottom, I had a W sticker that I got from Michael's that I just put here on the bottom. And then on the back, it's an anchor, and it says lifelong love letter. Anchors are kind of my thing, as you saw by the verse on the cover. And in our wedding dance, our first dance together, we danced to Sarah Bareilles' "I Choose You," and we did a funny little number at the part where she sings, "This is my lifelong love letter." So that's where that came in. So I'll just go ahead and get into it. So here on the inside front cover, I'm not sure if this is straight or not. It's really hard to see on my viewfinder, but I guess so. There's this coloring page here on the left, which I went ahead and I used some Tombos. And then I just wrote some notes and mottos here on the front page. Next, I use some sticky notes throughout the Bible to denote certain things. So any palm frond looking sticky note in this location is for Old Testament prophecies about Jesus is coming. Here's a little Christmas tree for beginnings of Jesus, and then any verses that talk about Day of the Lord. I didn't start doing this until partway through the Bible, so it's not a thorough encompassment of what everything is. That's my cat, who's coming into the frame. You can see a shadow in his little cry. Anyway, go away. So there's that. And then these next couple pages, I used washi tape to secure together. They're just info pages and such. And then I just had some more notes. This was actually a quote that Bibles and Coffee Jackie had posted June 31st. Next is the index to the Bible. I put a "don't forget" post-it note there. It did get kind of ripped and stuff, but I mean, I use this Bible every day. And then alphabetical index, which I think I use more frequently than the actual index to books of the Bible. And then here another introduction to the Bible and the version, and that I just secured with some washi tape because I didn't really need that for the daily walk part. I read it in the very beginning, but then moved on from that. And then it gets into the nuts and bolts. So then it has Old Testament overview, New Testament overview, and then it gets into the Bible itself. So this is how the beginning of every book looks like. It has the name of the book and then a little bit about the book. And then at the side of every book of the Bible, I put some washi tape there. I thought it would help me find the books of the Bible better. It didn't end up working. It just added a lot of bulk to my Bible that I didn't end up wanting at the end. But it was a pack of rose gold washi tape from Michael's, and this is the width of the washi. I didn't end up folding it over the pages, which might have helped in the long run, and I may do in the future. I saw Gretchen Saffels from Well Watered Women do that, and it seemed to work better for her. This is how each day is broken up in the Bible. It has the day, a topic of the day. It's got a little check mark for you to fill in, and then it tells you what verses you can be reading. And each section breaks it down like this. There's an overview, daily walk, insight, and then it gets into the Bible. And you can see here on the pages, it has a little man. So the daily walk, so it's like a little walking man, and that's where you'll read to. So this one says read Genesis 1 and 2. So you can see that by the time you get to number 3, there's your next walking man, and that's where you stop. So they break it down into really manageable chunks. And I just went through and highlighted and added notes and everything to help me with my reading of the Bible. Oh, there he goes. So I'll just go ahead and flip through the Bible. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So this is just what it looks like. So I'll just go ahead and flip through. I may figure out how to speed through this and add some music. So some days, well, actually, I didn't end up getting this Bible until February. I ended up using an ESV leather Bible that I had bought myself. I drew in a little sheep. One was Saved by the Lamb. Sometimes I do some doodles based on what the topic is. Did a little bit of hand lettering. And then every couple of days, there's a section, it's called Reflection and Worship. It kind of gives you a break from reading the Bible. So there's a look back, so look over what you just read, look up, point it all to God, and then look ahead, so what's coming in the Bible that you'll be reading. Sometimes it's got some cute little fill in the blanks that you can do. So the Bible is a lamp and light, and it tells you where to find it. Another Reflection and Worship. It came about every 7 or 8 days, I realized, which was a nice break. So kind of on the weekly, you got to kind of take a break from the knit and grit of the Bible, which is like, the Bible is obviously what we take first, but the Reflection and Worship is just a way to get your mind processing what you've read rather than just reading it for digestion. That I was in. I didn't actually physically get this Bible until the end of February, so I added some flip-in notes if I wanted to take some more notes than a simple post-it note would allow. Sometimes I would use larger post-it notes to kind of mark things. So this one, blue tassel, I forget why I highlighted that and wanted to come back to that, but it just was talking about the blue tassels on the robes. This was in Numbers, so I'll have to come back and remember why I wanted to mark it. But if I wanted to mark something specifically to come back to, I would put a stick out post-it note versus just a post-it note like on the page. So day 1 in Bible, ordered from Jackie and got delivered February 24th, opened it at 2 a.m. this day, designed by my husband, Max. So this is when I actually got the Bible and when I fully started like diving into this Bible specifically. Based on either the content of the page or a specific quote on the page, I would kind of letter on the top of the post-it notes and put like the topics. This one was about submitting. My cat's hanging out right here so you can see his little shadow. He's interested in the flipping of pages, so he might stick his paw out. Yep, there he is. So if you guys are interested, again, this is the Daily Walk Bible, New Living Translation, which made it really easy to read. Day 100, I just did a little added lettering. Sometimes I would highlight from one study I was doing, and then when I would go through for the actual daily reading, I would use the other color. So you can see I highlighted in blue and then re-highlighted in pink, and it made purple. So this, and then I marked this was my birthday. I turned 28 last year. Here I wrote Holy Spirit, and then all because of this one little line. Our friends Isaac and Des got married on May 27th, so I just wrote that in there. I really actually liked these post-it notes because, or I guess page tabs, because you can see through it. So unlike the one that said Holy Spirit, which I'll have to lift up if I want to come back and reread it, this one I can actually just read through it. I don't need to lift up to see. Again, this is it's just the Bible. There's nothing different about it. It's nobody's added comments. It's just broken up into manageable, readable sections. I'll just go ahead and start skipping through since it's mostly all the same. But here you can start to see from the very beginning. This is verse 7:14, talks about God coming in the future as Jesus. All right, then it's the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the virgin will conceive a child, etc., etc. So all of these sticky notes here are prophecies of Jesus, and then these little half moons are talking about the day of the Lord. So Isaiah 13:6-10, which is here and highlighted. And again, some larger tabs that I wanted to come back to if I needed to easily reference, which ended up coming in handy. Like especially this one, God isn't out to get you, he's out to save you. Do you think that I like to see the wicked people die, says the sovereign Lord? Of course not. I want them to turn from their wicked ways and live. And then I ended up getting these really cool ones from Rose Colored Days, these foil calendar stickers. So since I got them towards the end of the year, I went ahead and just put them in the book where September started. So I started Hosea September 1st. So I just put that here as a beginning to reference back to if I need to know what day of the week it was. Okay, so apparently I can only take videos on this memory card in 20-minute increments. So I'm not exactly sure where that last clip left off. And then I was also saying that you can start this Bible at any time. There's nothing that specifically says you have to start it January 1st. If you read it through, if you start like September 7th, you can read through it and finish September 6th. Like it doesn't have to be, you start at the beginning. Some of the things do build on previous like reflection and worships and everything, but it's not anything that like is detrimental. Like it's still reading the Bible in a year. And I mostly just wanted to read through the Bible in a year, just so I could get a basis of where everything was. I think one of my biggest revelations of reading through it was in Daniel. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis and talk a lot about Daniel in the lion's den. And I thought, oh, it's going to be like this huge solid chapter in the Bible. Like it's going to be this huge thing. And it was literally something like this big of Daniel in the lion's den. It was not big at all. And I was like, oh, well, that's good to know that the hype of it is, the moral of the story versus like the length of it. This one had talked about the different miracles. So I took these little unicorn llama-like stickers and just put them over the different miracles in this passage. I think this is my favorite color highlighter, and I was really sad the day that it ran out. It was a Tool liquid highlighter. just to clarify here, sometimes I wouldn't have a highlighter, so I would just scribble through it to highlight it later. So I came back in with this pink highlighter because all I had on hand was a pen. I wasn't actually crossing out the Bible as a disagreement. I was just highlighting to the best of my ability. So here's another one of those die cuts, stickers for November. Sometimes I would write additional studies on the books of the Bible. Sarah Kuntz came out with a study called Worthy of the Calling that walked you through Ephesians, and I believe it was close to this time that I was actually going through it. Obviously, the study would last longer than reading through all of Ephesians in one day, but I wrote that there, so if I ever wanted to come back to it, I knew I could look up the Worthy of the Calling study in Ephesians. If you guys have any questions on like where washi tape is, if I've sped up through that and didn't end up saying it, if you have a question where post-it notes come from and you're curious, go ahead and again, just leave those in the description or the comment box below, and I'll get to those to the best of my ability. This one I got as a journaling card freebie from a planner conference that I went to in Las Vegas, right around Nevada Day weekend, which was Halloween. And based on some of the reflection and worships, they had titles of each book. So this one was the Conduct Manual. So if you ever want to know how to behave as a Christian, come check out Titus. So here you can see, that's why I marked it. So Philippians is happily humble. Colossians is a commander-in-chief. Thessalonians, the first one, is stay on target. Thessalonians, the second one, work while you wait. Timothy is a leadership manual. Timothy 2 is a combat manual. And Titus is a conduct manual. So some of those reflection and worships and everything just kind of pointed out new titles to look at the different books of the Bible. So rather than calling it Hebrews, you could call it, whatever manual. And if I didn't have a highlighter, sometimes I would use my Tombow dual brush pens because obviously the brush part of it, you lay it down flat, works well as a highlighter. And then this, I was going through some sort of prophetic info session. So here's the web address for that. I'll go ahead and just pause here as it, so you can get that. And then I just wrote down a quote, either that came from this prophetic thing or that I had learned myself, God had revealed to me. Some more like different ways to look at the books of the Bible. So James is a faith gauge. 1 Peter is pain with a purpose. 2 Peter is poison in the pew. 1 John, fellowship barometer. 2 John, bolt the door. And 3 John, open the door. And now obviously it tells you more about it. So you're not like, what's a faith gauge? How to know if you have a true and living faith in God. So I really enjoyed this Bible a lot. Again, some more lettering based on the content of the book. And then as we got to the end of the Bible, it also has a reading plan here. So if you wanted to have an overview of like what you're reading, when, titles of it, page numbers, the date, like that. Once you finish, continue your journey, gives you some options. And then I had a pen test page, so different pens that I had that I thought I would want to use. I just wrote them here on this page, and then you could flip back and see which ones bled through. Your safest bet is ballpoint pens on these super thin pages of the Bible. And then obviously the lighter highlighter colors that you can't see very well through the other side. And then some other like quotes, and then some of the reflection and worship had you do things I'm doing to cause success for myself, for someone else in your life. I picked my husband, and then other things here. And then there were some, so this was a quote from a podcast I was listening to, Christy Nockels, Glorious in the Mundane. This was one of her songs. And then they give you some blank pages. And again, in the back, there was a coloring page. And that is the flip through of my Daily Walk Bible. If you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments down below and I'll get to them to the best of my ability. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.